Hello everyone, this is Bonnie from A Backward Story. I'm coming to you live from New York City. Today was the first day, technically, of the Book Expo of America. The first day isn't for the exhibit floor, it is just for panels, and one of the panels I love to go to every year is the Adult Buzz Panel. This year there were 6 authors chosen, and one of the books is not in here because they ran out of copies for it, so I will show it to you on my iPod at the very end because it's the only way that I can get a picture of it up, because I'm sending you this video live with no cuts and I don't have a way to edit it from my phone. And to be a Buzz Panel contender, basically every publishing house picks one book that is going to be their lead title and they submit it to a group of panelists, and then they choose 5 or 6 books that are the winners. And tomorrow I'm going to go to the teen one for the YA book, so you'll see another one of those from me again. And let's take a look at what I got today. And I just want to take a minute to stop and show you this gorgeous lamp and in the hotel room. It's gorgeous. Anyway, we got the Buzz books of 2018 for fall and winter with exclusive excerpts. It's huge. You can get this online too. You can get it from NetGalley, from Edelweiss, and I believe you might be able to download it even if you don't have an account, if you're not a reviewer. So take a look at that. There might be other places to get it. They always tell you the biggest books coming out. I'm not planning to bring this home with me. I'll leave it at the center for someone else to grab. But I want to go through some of these excerpts and see if there's anything else that I want to pick up this week that maybe I didn't know about, and I can see if it's something that I want to read or not. And then I'll just show you quickly, just in case anyone wants to look up more about them. So this is just a bunch of excerpts. So this wasn't one of the 6 chosen titles. One of the chosen books was a true crime title entitled The Real Lolita, The Kidnapping of Sally Horner and the Novel That Scandalized the World by Sarah Weinman. And in 1948, Sally Horner was just 11 years old when she was kidnapped by a man claiming to be an FBI agent. 7 years later, Vladimir Nabokov published Lolita, perhaps the most seminal novel of the 20th century. Sarah Weinman's investigation into how the two are connected is a thrilling, heartbreaking mix of literary scholarship and true crime writing. And here it says, Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita is one of the most beloved and notorious novels of all time, and yet very few of its readers know that the subject of the novel was inspired by a real-life case, the 1948 abduction of 11-year-old Sally Horner. Weaving together suspenseful crime narrative, cultural and social history, and literary investigation, The Real Lolita tells Sally Horner's full story for the very first time. Drawing upon extensive investigations, legal documents, public records, and interviews with remaining relatives, Sarah Weinman uncovers how much Nabokov knew of the Sally Horner case and the efforts he took to disguise that knowledge during the process of writing and publishing Lolita. Sally Horner's story echoes the stories of countless girls and women who never had the chance to speak for themselves. By diving deeper into the publication history of Lolita and restoring Sally to her rightful place in the lore of the novel's creation, The Real Lolita casts a new light on the dark inspiration for a modern classic. This next one I am super excited for. It sounds fascinating. It is called She Would Be King by Wayétu. It was an Indie Next finalist. It comes out on July 9th. Oh, The Real Lolita comes out in September. It's not giving an exact date that I can see on the back. It is a transcendent debut from a major new talent. In She Would Be King, Wayétu reimagines the dramatic story of the formation of Liberia through the eyes of 3 unforgettable characters. Bessa, exiled on suspicion of being a witch from the west of African village of Lay, is bitten by a viper and left for dead, but miraculously survives. June Day, raised on a plantation in Virginia, hides his unusual strength until a confrontation with the overseer forces him to flee. Norman Aragon is the child of a white British colonizer and a maroon slave from Jamaica, and can fade from sight at will, just as his mother could. When they meet in the settlement of Monrovia, their gifts help them salvage the tense relationship between the African-American settlers and the indigenous tribes. Their storylines are brilliantly intertwined by the all-seeing spirit of the wind, who embodies an ancient wisdom. A spectacular blend of history and magical realism, She Would Be King is a novel of profound depth set against a rich, unexpected canvas. Moore illuminates with radiant prose the tumultuous roots of a unique African country, one whose history is inextricably bound to the United States. And this book just sounded so amazing. Right up my alley. I am super excited to read this. Next you have There Will Be No Miracles Here. It is a memoir by Gerald. It comes out October 2nd. And it says, it is the testament of a boy and a generation who came of age as the world came apart. A generation searching for a new way to live. Casey Gerald's story begins at the end of the world. Dallas, New Year's Eve, 1999, when he gathers with the congregation of his grandfather's black church to see which of them will be carried off. His beautiful mother disappears frequently. He and his sister live like boxcar children on her disability checks. When Casey follows in the footsteps of his father, who is a legend who literally broke his back for the team, he's recruited to play football at Yale and enters a world that he has never dreamed of. So now he has access to secret societies and success on Wall Street in Washington. And even though he is now part of the inner sanctum of power, he sees how the world crushes those who live at its margins. He sees how the elite perpetuate the salvation stories that keep others from rising, and they affect the status quo, and he sees, most painfully, how his own ascension is part of the scheme. It has the arc of a classic rags to riches narrative, but it stands the American dream narrative on its head. If to live as we are is destroying us, it asks, what would it mean to truly live? So this is something that, I don't read a lot of nonfiction. I wouldn't have picked it up on my own, but I am very excited to read it because that's what I love about these book buzz panels. The books that I wouldn't pick up to read on my own become books that I really wind up enjoying. Last year, I especially loved Dear Martin by Nick Stone and the nonfiction story of the 57 bus, which both won a ton of awards this past January. Two previous favorites, Ready Player One and The Night Circus, of course, Aaron Morgenstern. Next up is MAID by Stephanie Land, which this is the cover. Hard work, low pay, and a mother's will to survive. And one of the first things they did was read the opening line. My daughter learned to walk in a homeless shelter. That already tells you everything to hook you in, and it's such a brave, true story. It's something that you don't hear about a lot. It doesn't come out until January 29th, so it's a little bit a ways, but it is such an important story, and I think it's going to make a really big impact and be the voice of millions of people who are in the same exact situation, and maybe they're too tired or sore or so many different factors at the end of the day and can't tell their stories themselves. And this is in this tradition of evicted and nickel and dimed. It's harrowing and deeply moving. And it talks all about motherhood and poverty in America. And it says, as a single mother, Stephanie Land scrubbed the toilets of the wealthy and lived in a dank studio with her young daughter. Her journey is one of resilience and grit as she hops from home to home and survives on $9 an hour and public assistance. It's an illuminating dive into the gut-wrenching truth of both the secret underbelly of middle-class America and the reality of what it's like to be in service to them. And then it says, emotionally raw, heartrendingly beautiful, MAID is an unforgettable story of survival and a mother's relentless determination to provide a better life for her child. And this book just sounded amazing, and the way that they talked about it and the way that it hit to the core and picked up on matters that are so important and that hit so close to home for so many people just made me really want to read this. So again, I don't read a lot of nonfiction, and there are already 2 new books coming out that I want to read because of this buzz panel. Make that 3. This is Small Animals, Parenthood in the Age of Fear by Kim Brooks. And this one comes out in August. And this one is ripped from the headlines. And this one morning, Kim Brooks made a split-second decision to leave her 4-year-old son in the car while she ran into a store. She was gone for only a few minutes. Sorry, I'm shaking because I'm, like, so awkward here. She was gone for only a few minutes, and when she came back, he was still happily absorbed in a game. What Brooks didn't know was that a stranger had filmed her and would go on to send the video to the police. The fallout of this single moment would consume the next several years of Kim's life and spur her to investigate the broader role of America's culture of fear that plays in parenthood. She asks, of all the emotions inherent in parenting, is there any more universal or profound than fear? Why have our notions of what it means to be a good parent changed so radically? In which ways do these changes impact the lives of parents, children, and the structure of society at large? And what, in the end, does the risk of fearful parenting tell us about herself? Kim Brooks melds her personal experience with an exploration of the way we parent in America today. And it asks, how do we keep our children safe while letting them be free? And just the way she described this and talked about it, and it just gives you chills. And it sounded incredible. Okay, sorry for the glare. If this was a normal video, I would, be able to put the picture up on the screen, but this is the only way that I can show you the cover. It is Ohio. It is a novel by Stephen Markley. Whoops. This one is the debut of a major talent, a lyrical and emotional novel set in a small town in Ohio. It's a region ravaged by the Great Recession. It has an opioid crisis. It's got the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan going on. It takes place in 2013 during one fateful summer when 4 former classmates converge on their hometown. Each has a mission. They're all haunted by ghosts of their shared histories. Since the turn of the century, a generation has come of age knowing only war, recession, political gridlock, racial hostility, and a simmering fear of environmental calamity in the country's forgotten pockets, where industry long ago fled. Foreclosures, Walmart's riddle the land. Death rates for whites have skyrocketed in the rural areas, fueled by suicide, addiction, marginalization, disillusionment. This is the world of the characters of Stephen Markley, Ohio. So it is about 4 former classmates that converge on the Rust Belt town where they grew up. Each one has their own mission. They're all haunted by regrets, secrets, and lost loves. Bill Ashcraft is an alcoholic. He's a drug-abusing activist. He's gone from Cambodia to Zuccotti Park to New Orleans, and now he's back at the cane with a mysterious package strapped to the underside of his truck. Stacy Moore is a doctoral candidate, reluctantly confronting the mother of her former lover. Dan Eden is a veteran. He did 3 tours in Iraq. He's home for a dinner date with the high school sweetheart he tried to forget. And it says that that is going to trigger the novel's shocking climax. And then my picture cuts off, but it is at once a murder mystery and a social critique. So this is everything from the Adult Buzz Panel of 2018 at BEA. 6 books plus the Buzz book. I'm so excited to read all of these. They are books that I probably wouldn't have picked any of these up on their own. I may have picked up She Would Be King, but I may not have because I may not have looked twice at it. And I'm so excited for all of these. I think Small Animals and She Would Be King are the biggest of the 2 that I'm excited about, but I do want to read all of these because of that Buzz panel, and that is exactly what it's meant to do. And we will see all of these books again because they're all going to be really big deals when they come out, so watch for them. And that is everything from me now. Today, I am going to try to post tomorrow from the YA Buzz panel, but it depends on how tired I am and what time I get in tomorrow night, so you may see that in a couple of days, and of course I'll have galley hauls at some point too. Hopefully, I'll be able to stay on track, but I will let you know, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.